All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have 100 arcane resistance on me, and we are getting sheep by a mage and seeing how quickly we pop out of it. I paid this mage some gold, so we're going to check it out. You can see I have 100 arcane resist on me. I have a theory on how to deal with mages in PvP, and it has to do with trying to get about 80 resistance. It has to do with trying to get about 80 magic resistance. I mean, arcane resistance even after their spell pen. So you'd want your arcane resist to be around about 100, maybe a little bit over 100. So it's unclear to me if I want 100 arcane resist or if I want 80 arcane resist. But basically, we want to break out of these sheeps at a high probability in under 16 seconds. Ugh, so that took forever. So that sheep took absolutely forever. Okay, so when he starts casting sheep, I'm supposed to cast freedom. So he'll cast sheep. I'll put freedom up on me. My freedom only lasts 10... Fuck, I'm the wrong spec. My freedom only lasts 10 seconds, but we want like a 16-second freedom. So we can pop out of the freedom before his... whatchamacallits. Pop out of the sheep before the freedom wears off, then they can't turn you into an ice cube. If they can't turn you into an ice cube, then everything is basically... Their burst is basically ruined. So I'm just looking at this number up here in order to gather the data. I think it starts at 50, and yeah, so it's breaking in like under 10 seconds. I'll start using a seal rather than my my bad 10-second freedom, but we want the 16-second freedom on a 20-second cooldown. So I'll put up the seal. We got sheep at 27 seconds. If we're breaking out, you know, before, yeah, it's so fast. Okay, cool. Do you have, actually, 3 more? Yeah, of course it pauses the video. So 3 more. Oh, that was DR. That's not going to work. Yeah. What are you doing? Lol. Oh, okay. So he has to go? Well, that's no good. I guess he was in, a hurry or some shit like that. That sucks. So unfortunately I didn't get enough data there. Let me pause the video and I'll try to find another mage really fast here. Okay. Alright, we got our hands on another mage. Let's drink the potion. So we now have 100 arcane resist. He shouldn't have any spell pen gear. And we get to see what's up. Crap. I guess Sacred Shield works. Again, it's 57. Make sure all no DR. Yeah, so we pop out really fast in the first one. Alright, cool, we're back. Do. Okay, cool. I get to watch my Seal of Martyrdom. See when we pop off. Okay, so it's been 10 seconds right now. Our freedom's about to wear off. We're about to get stunned and bursted on. Nice. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. 16 and again. Fucking hate typing. Not gonna lie, I hate typing to people. I guess I just have to look at the sheep button because I can't really do that too much. Okay, it's been 10 seconds. Got 6 seconds left of freedom. Okay, now they're bursting on us. They're bursting proper now. Okay, so that's the longest sheep I've eaten so far. 20 seconds worth of sheep. That sucked. Did not enjoy that at all. Too bad I'm going to tell this mage when to go. Must not be a PvPer. I think when this hits 0, I can tell him to go. Yeah, go. Cool. All right, cool. Our boy is bursting on us. Not, okay, cool. Out. 2 more. And we need to try 80% resistance. So 100% resistance is at least somewhat consistent. What do you want? That's cute. Can you do me a favor and shut the fuck up and fuck off? You think you can manage that while I'm recording a fucking video? You think I can redo this shit? So am I supposed to have sympathy for you right now? Is that what's going on here? All right, it's been 10 seconds. We got 6 more seconds before he can burst on us. My wife is sick and wants my attention. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, they can burst. Okay, they can burst. Fuck. But it was actually pretty close. If I think about it, they have to take a little bit longer before they can burst on you, because they have to wait for the 16-second freedom to fall off of you, and then they have to cast this slow-moving ball of death at you, right? So it's probably going to take them closer to like 18 seconds realistically to pull off the burst. But they could probably just pull the trigger at like the 16-second mark and just be like, fuck it. But that's going to take them a while to figure out. Okay, yeah, okay. Cool. Let me try 80 5 times. All right, now let's try 80 arcane resist. Oh. I think my arcane pot wore off, so that's why they were taking so long. All right, let's try this again. All right, so it's been 10 seconds. I'm going to burst on me. Now. Okay, cool, and we pop out. Interesting. All right, now I'm going to take off a ring. All right, now we're going to do 85 times. Okay, cool. 50 seconds starting. Now this is 80 resistance. It's unclear to me if I want 100 arcane resist or if I want 80 arcane resist. As you can see, there's an element of randomness. So specifically what's happening with the sheep here, if you don't know the mechanics, is that when he casts polymorph on me, there's a percent chance that like, let's say I have 25 arcane resist, right? Which would be 100 arcane resistance. There's a 30% chance that when he casts sheep on me, it gets resisted, because there's 25% chance to resist the sheep, plus an innate 5% chance to resist spells. I do believe in World of Warcraft. So you end up with a 30% chance that I just won't get turned into a sheep. But once I get turned into a sheep, after the first 6 seconds of being sheeped, there starts up a heartbeat duration mechanic. Okay, cool. We just came out. Our freedom almost wore off on that one. There starts a heartbeat duration mechanic where the game checks every few seconds. I have no idea if it's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, or 4 seconds, or every second, but it's checking every second, giving you a chance to break out of the stuns. And that chance to break out of the stun or the CC, this is for sap, this is for fears, this is for any CC that goes longer than basically 6 seconds. So we're in heartbeat right now on this sheep. The chance to break out per resist, it's equal to your resistance check. So it's a 30% chance for me to break out every time it's heart beating to check if I'm breaking out of the resist. That's if I'm at 100 arcane resistance. Now I'm at, my bad, is that true? Yeah. Now I'm at 80 arcane resistance, which means I only have a 20%, which means I only have a 25% chance to both resist the sheep that's being cast and to break out per heartbeat duration. Okay, my freedom just wore off. He can burst on me now. The burst went through. Okay, I'm definitely being bursted on, and I'm in trouble. Okay, so I don't think I'm liking the 80 arcane resist very much. I think I got one last magic resist potion. All right, cool. 50, 40. Okay, cool. We broke out in 10. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm liking the 100 arcane resist. I can probably live with 80 arcane resist, but I probably want to do like 100 arcane resist. 2 more resist. right, cool. This is my life. Do. Testing things and theory crafting. We're getting bursted on right now. Okay, cool. We broke out just in time. Sweet. So if you don't know about Mage Burst, if you have freedom on yourself, they can't turn you into an ice cube, basically. So the idea here is that we're going to freedom ourselves for 16 seconds. If you actually have the damn talents guarded by the light, you can freedom yourself for 16 seconds every on a 20-second cooldown. And so the idea here is I would have a freedom running right now, and I break out of the sheep before the freedom wears off is the ideal scenario, right? Or before they can cast the slow-moving ball of death and get their burst off on me. All right, cool. All right, so let's explain the mechanic here really fast. Let me pause the video and we'll get out of here. All right, leave party, log out, exit the game, roger that, and pause this. Oh, I'm still recording? That sucks. When the hell did that happen? Oh well, whatever. Trying to bring up YouTube, but it's not working. It's really annoying. Alright, there we go. That's better. Gear planner, mage, gnome. Let's see their runes. Talents and runes. Okay, cool. So this is the Frost Mage death setup that definitely 100% needs a nerf. But until Blizzard gets off their butt and actually does nerf the damn Frost Mage, this is just how you're going to have to deal with it as a Paladin. By far the best way to deal with it as a Paladin is with a magic resistance potion. So that'll be very useful for you in PvP and in the open world. They're like 17 silver on the auction house, and the cost of them isn't really going to go down anytime soon. So you can chug them basically like they're candy. They last 3 minutes. They give you $50 resistances. They can be dispelled, but it's a mage. They don't have dispels, right? So you can very easily get more than enough arcane resist to break out of the sheeps. Now, the mage kill chain is actually very... What's the term here? It is a kill chain. So if you break it at any point, it ceases to function, is the best way to describe it. So, what the mage first has to do to you is they have to turn you into a sheep. They have to turn you into a sheep for two reasons. The first reason is that the frozen orb moves extremely slowly. Let me pause the video and actually pull up YouTube here so we can actually get some visual data here. All right, we're back. Okay, cool. So I got the Zarya video loaded up where we can actually see the burst in action. And I got the runes over here that we can talk about it. So the burst opens with the mage sheeping you. And the reason why they need to sheep you is they have to wait for freedom to fall off. Because specifically what this rune does is, if you see here on the bottom, it says that it has a 100% chance to trigger Fingers of Frost rune. Fingers of Frost rune basically counts as if you're frozen in place for the next two spell effects. Deep freeze, you can stun the target, but it's only usable on frozen targets, so you get the idea here, right? So they hit you with frost spells that have a 15% chance to count as if you're rooted. And when you count as rooted, the only other spell they have that does that will be their Frozen Nova. When you count as rooted, a bunch of things start happening. The first thing that happens is Shatter starts coming into play, which is horrifying. If I scroll over Shatter here, you gain 50% increased critical strike chance on you with their next 2 spellcasts due to Fingers of Frost. And Fingers of Frost says, give your chills effects a 15% chance to grant Fingers of Frost effect, which treat your next 2 spellcasts as if the target was frozen. Frozen Orb, the first time it does damage to you, it has a 100% chance to proc Fingers of Frost. When Deep Freeze requires Fingers of Frost or Frozen Nova to be active in order to turn you into a damn ice cube. There's other spells in the Mage tree here where your Frost Bolts have a 15% chance to root the target in place, which counts as them being frozen, and suddenly they can stun you and blah, 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 blah. But the point is that if you have freedom on yourself as a paladin, you cannot be snared, and therefore Fingers of Frost can never trigger. They can't basically they can't get a root on you, so the Frozen Orb won't do anything. They can't deep freeze you, blah, 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 blah. Frozen Orb also moves so slowly that they really want to sheep you and then cast Frozen Orb from like a safe distance, like out of melee range. So they want to be close, but they don't want to be too close to you. And this Frozen Orb moves very, very slowly to the target. So if you weren't sheeped, you could literally just strafe left or strafe right or run away from the Frozen Orb, and it would completely screw over their burst. What's worse is as long as you have freedom on yourself, they literally cannot burst you. So that would be, so ideally you want your 16-second freedom every 20 seconds, right? So what the Arcane Resist is going to do for you is that you see them casting sheep, then you put your 16-second freedom on yourself, you get sheeped, and then they have to sit there and wait for the 16-second freedom to fall the fuck off before they can cast this Frozen Orb at you and start their burst, right? They have to do that. But if we have enough arcane resistance, what's going to happen is you're going to break out of the sheep before your freedom falls off. And as soon as that happens, they basically can't burst on you again because Frozen Orb moves too terribly slowly. They would have to start casting rank 1 Frost Bolts at you, or come close enough to get a Frost Nova on you. Only then could they deep freeze you because your freedom is going to be down for 4 seconds. That's a really tough window to do. If I pulled up MS Paint and we looked at the burst, like the actual Mage burst, right? What you'll begin to see is that them having to do all of that is really, really bad. It's going to really hurt their burst if they don't have you stunned with a Frozen Orb sitting on top of you. If they're forced to stun you with Deep Freeze first and then cast a Frozen Orb on top of you, the only way they could possibly get away with that is if they're physically on top of you in melee, which is going to be extremely dangerous for them, especially against any kind of Reckoning Paladin or even a Deep Ret Paladin, because you still have Bubble. Possibly you have PvP Trinket. You could just come out of that and start forcing out ice blocks or just delete them out of existence. More importantly, it costs them GCDs. And it's the GCD costs that completely start fucking up their burst and bringing it to within manageable damage levels. If you let them get off a full burst, the low end of the burst damage is like 8,000, and the high end of the burst damage is like upwards of like 10k. It's unsurvivable if you let them get off the full burst. But if you force them to use an additional GCD inside of that burst, suddenly the damage drops down to closer to 6,000, which suddenly becomes survivable and manageable, if that makes any sense. So that's basically how you're screwing over the combo. Amy, where's Potato? Is he yapping at you? All right. So no dog stuck in the bathroom. All right. I can't tell. The dog, one of our dogs has the same yipe for whether he's stuck in the bathroom or he wants something from Amy, specifically my wife. He doesn't yipe at me like that unless he's like, you know, in danger or some shit. So I hear that crap and I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, so that's how we're planning on countering the burst using Arcane Resist. You could slap on a bunch of Frost Resist and achieve a similar effect because you'll start cutting the likelihood of Fingers of Frost to proc by like 50%. You'll cut the amount of damage incoming on you by like 50% if you stack Frost Resistance, right? But it doesn't change the fact that the Frozen Orb still has a 100% proc chance on you when it does damage to you at first, which sucks. Also, it doesn't stop the mage from sheeping you and then drinking and doing the burst over and over and over and over again until RNG goes their way and you die. That's why Arcane Resist tends to be better, because if we stack Arcane Resist, what ends up happening is suddenly the sheeps don't work anymore, so they can't really get mana back. Their burst is very questionable, like they can't really burst on you very well. If you're using a PvP trinket and bubble, when their burst finally does come through for them, you have a counter to it. You're like, oh, did you stun me because your burst came through? My freedom fell off. All right, well, I got 2 fuck yous in the bag, and I've got even more fuck yous if the duel goes long enough. But basically, they only have enough mana in the tank because they can't drink because of your Arcane Resistance to do that burst a few times. And we can guarantee shutting it down from working. I want to go... what are these things called? I want the PvP trinket, but I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's not a mark. Fuck. Brain dead. Damn it. Come on, brain. It is a... I forget. We're just going to scroll down. Do I search champion? Alliance? Alliance. Okay, yeah, insignia. Fuck off. All right, so, yeah, it's still a 5-minute cooldown, even with the Season of Discovery one. All right, good to know. I think there's one trinket that'll let you break out like every 3 minutes or something like that. I know it's a high item level, and it's blue. All right. Yeah, Zaryu was wearing it in the duels. Counterattack, Lodestone, Defiler's Talisman, Draconic Eye of the Beast, Hand of Injustice, Cursed Chalice. No. All right, that's the thing that gives you a bunch of increased strength by 80, lasts for 20 seconds. I might have to go get that for Wreck Bombs. Cold Embrace, 20 Frost Resistance, run speed by 40% for 10 seconds, 3-minute cooldown. That's not the worst thing in the world. I'll have to go check that out. Are all these trinkets from, like, the new Demon Fall Canyon? Like, what the fudge? Nature Resist by up to 115. Effects last for 20 seconds. Okay, cool. Yeah, so they tried to put some anti-caster stuff in here. Remove harmful magical effects, a 2-minute cooldown. Huh. That's interesting. And 20 fire resistance. No idea. But there's one here that lets you... I don't know. I'm looking for a 3-minute cooldown, basically anti-sheep type thing. I'll have to go test if I can use that to remove sheep. But hopefully you get the idea of how we're countering this duel. Now, let's actually go look at what it looks like if you don't do anything. Okay, so he starts by sheeping me. Okay? And if I had freedom up, he'd be waiting for it. There was even one duel where he waited for my freedom to wear off. I basically have freedom in myself to see if he was dumb enough to do it. And he literally said on his stream, like, I'm going to wait for the freedom to fall off. And that confirmed to me that he needed to wait for the freedom to fall off. So he opens with the slow ball of death, but you can see how slow this ball is. The first time it hits me, of course, it triggers some Fingers of Frost shit, which means he turns me into an ice cube, right? That's the opener. But if I had freedom on me, I could literally, he couldn't turn me into an ice cube, and I could literally just run away from the ball of death. If the ball of death is not in the equation, their burst becomes extremely weak and very easily manageable. What's making the ball of death do terrible, awful, no good things to you is that while it sits on you, not only is it doing damage, but it's every tick of it is giving the mage a 20%. Every second that this ball is on you, it's giving the mage a 20% chance to instant cast out these frost firebolts. So you can see he's ice lancing me right now. He's waiting for the instant cast frost firebolts because he hasn't got one quite yet. When I get hit for a shit ton of damage, that's his instant cast frost firebolts. I have my squire out, so it's not a 20% chance for it to proc. It's a 40% chance for it to proc. And you can see he doesn't even have to hard cast anything, like at all. He got bad RNG on that burst, so I actually survive it, right? We could see that basically. Oh, and if we get a Frostfire Bolt, this thing will be on. This is increasing, stacks up. This is increasing. This is the other thing that's making the Ice Ball of Death critical to the burst. Notice how quickly Shatter start. No, it's not Shatter. It's I forget what this is. Notice how quickly this starts stacking up on me. 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 stacks of this already. Now this mage, because I'm stuck in this damn ice cube here, has a 60% increased chance to crit me on any spell attacks. Increased chance to crit me. So he's upwards of 80, 90% critical strike chance on me. That's the other problem with the big ball of death. But again, I wouldn't be here. How this would look if I had the Arcane Resist build instead would be, I'd be in a sheep, but I would have Freedom on. And the Freedom, he wouldn't be able to put this ice ball out yet because he'd have to wait on Freedom to fall off. And I'm just going to come out of the sheep before, I'm going to come out of the sheep before the Freedom wears off, and suddenly he can't get this Ice Ball of Death to stick on me. The only way he can get the Ice Ball of Death to stick on me is to cast rank 1 Fire Frostbolt. You can see he starts doing it here. If I let the duel play, you can even listen to him talk about it. He'll start rank 1ing. There's a rank 1. Yeah, bug cleansing it. I don't want nothing to do with that. I know the danger here. Each of these has a 15% chance to root me in place. Once it roots me in place, it can turn me into an ice cube, and he can, what is it? Brain. Cold Snap out another one of the Ice Balls of Death. The counter spell element and the cube, a stun element of this burst on a 30-second cooldown. The Ice Cube of Death is on a 1-minute cooldown, but you can, Cold Snap it out and do it again. So the fact that he hasn't gotten a frozen yet on me is hilariously bad. Yeah, these rank 1 Frostbolts are I think they're a 1-second cast time. Unironically, they might be 1.5. I could be wrong.
Fingers of Frost.
There he gets it.
Bro, okay, there's one.
The counter spells me. Okay, cool. Turns you into Ice Cube. Now you see he doesn't have the Ice Ball of Death, so he's forced to hard cast Frost Firebolts, which have a 2-second spell cast IDC. But again, it's going to have a 90%, 80, 90% chance to crit. So, but once I get out of this, I can put Freedom on myself, and because I have Freedom on, I just move through the stuff. You can't burst you with Freedom on. Right? Notice the moment I got out of the stun, the moment I had Freedom on, the burst ends, basically. Yeah, I should have gone all in and tried to kill him here. But, it is what it is. So we're learning. He goes and drinks. Yeah, he knows the direness of the situation.
This guy's kind of a beast.
All right. No, it's not that. I just got good RNG that fight. So anyways, that's my thinking. That's my battle plan. Counter Mage with Arcane Resist. We're going to need somewhere around about 120 Arcane Resist. You might think that's going to do terrible things to our gearing, but check this out. All right, Dwarf. Right? All right, cool. So you'll see here that I have 108 Arcane Resist before I even drink a Magic Resistance Potion. So this would be close to 160 Arcane Resist before I drink a Magic Potion. Look at my HP. it's still 5,351. My mana bar is what's taken the biggest hit. I've lost 1,400 mana from my mana bar in this build. Enchant Weapon Crusader. No, we don't want Crusader. I take that back. Maybe I haven't lost that much. Yeah, so I've lost 1,000 mana in this build, which sucks because trying to kill a mage with only 4,000 mana is going to be a bit rough. Doable, but a bit rough. I'll have to let the squire do a lot of the work, but believe it or not, because of this, when the squire is offensing on Zaryu or on another top tier mage, you can eat and drink, which is awesome. Another aspect of the burst is that the mage cannot, if you're using squire, which is bad, it's bad if you don't have freedom up, and it's bad if you don't have arcane resist. But if you start having arcane resist, squire becomes kind of fine, believe it or not. What am I trying to say here? Right, if you have squire active, the mage can't really hit you with an offensive spell. They can sheep you, but they can't hit you with an offensive spell. That's part of the equation, but that's getting a little bit too deep into the weeds. But you can see here that I still have tons, like an absolute ocean of health to try to sacrifice in exchange for getting more arcane resist. I haven't touched the trinkets. What do I got going on for arcane resist? I have an arcane resist neck piece. I have arcane resist bracers. I have a girdle, I do believe, with arcane resist on it. I'll have to go pick this up. I've got 2 arcane resist rings, not even the good ones, just the cheap plus 20 arcane resist rings off the auction house. I have a rock golem bulwark, which I think is the shield that drops off of the first boss in BRD, the rock golem boss. I'm using a Thane's hammer, of course, just because it's got really thick stamina on it, and I already have mine buffed up with 22 intellect. This is like a holy shock build, right? Of course, I have 5 all resistances on shoulders. I'm using Blood Moon Cloak because it has 7 arcane resist on it. If I did an arcane resist cloak, it would shoot up to 15 arcane resist, so I could have 8 more arcane resist, but I lose like 17 stamina, and I don't think that's worth it. Also, I lose a little bit of spell power. But yeah, so you can see here that I'm still just thick as a motherfucker on the HP, and I could easily make even more sacrifices to more arcane resist. I could easily swap out these heavy stamina trinkets for even more arcane resist. One of them would probably want to be swapped out for like a PvP trinket. The other one you might swap out for even more arcane resist. Or you could just kind of do what I'm planning on doing and just drink a magic resist potion, and that'll get your arcane resist up way, way high enough that you're just never coming out of sheep without freedom ever again. The problem with this, however, is that if you're holy shock and you're fighting a mage, you can't be shock eye because you need your freedoms to be 16-second CD. So you have to be more of a traditional holy shock build. If you're a Reckoning Paladin, or you're a Deep Ret Paladin, or you're any other kind of Paladin besides Shock Eye specifically, you're going to have your 16-second freedom. And then Arcane Resist literally just solves the damn problem. It solves all the problems, is basically the TLDR of all that. Yeah, so I'm going to end the video here and Dave's Vault, but that's how I plan to deal with mages in the future, is just get my arcane resist up to probably over 100 arcane resist, to around 100, over 100, or somewhere over 100 arcane resistance with PvP trinket still, and have a 16-second freedom. And I should be able to just them, because they'll only have maybe they've got 4 or 5 bursts in them. Each burst is only going to have a 20% chance to succeed. While the whole time I'm basically chasing them around and beating the crap out of them. So, yeah. And, of course, worst case scenario, if it's not a duel where people aren't allowing pots to be used and you're fighting a mage under some circumstance where you suddenly need to take it seriously. So we're talking open world PvP, or we're talking a battleground where you're defending a flag, or something serious like that. You can literally just drink a magic resist potion. This will shoot up, arcane resist will shoot up to numbers that literally won't let them sheep you. Or won't let them win that fight anymore ever, and just GG's. So anyways, end the video here, and Day Assault.